Hello and welcome to an emergency edition of Knickerbocker Banter. I'm your host, as always, Harris Wishard, here with my off-season correspondent, Kevin Etwaroo. And man, we've had a day to digest this. Mikal Bridges is a member of the New York Knicks. We'll discuss the details, man. But how are you feeling 12 hours later?
We spoke last night. It was whirlwind for sure. Excited though, hey, we didn't think it was going to happen. It was always the Nets would never do it, but
Yeah,
we paid the price.
that was it, man. That was what I told everybody that asked me about Bridges. I'd love him. I've been talking about him since last year. We know about the Villanova connection, right? We've seen the memes. We've seen the FaceTimes. We've seen all of that stuff. And the chemistry's on 1,000, but I'm like, you know what? The Nets aren't going to make our lives any better. We haven't made a deal with this team since 1983. So I did not expect it to go down, but let's get into the gravy of this thing. 25, 27, 29, 31, all unprotected first round. And then you have the Bucks pick in there at 25, the first round pick, a 28 second round, a 25, 26 second round, and then a 28 unprotected. Do you think, a 28 pick swap? When I look at this, it's like I'm trying to follow all of it. And I'm like, wait, this pick, that pick. What's your initial feeling? Was it enough? Is it something you're happy with? And what the Knicks gave up to get this guy?
So I kind of put it in a little bit of a perspective in that, any person that we want, any player that we wanted, we would have had to do this sort of deal. Now you want to slot in Paul George or whoever. It was going to look something like this. And I think we paid a little extra because of our crosstown rivals, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Rivals is a word. Yeah, right. So I think it's a tough price to pay, but I do think that the fact that it's Mikal Bridges and Villanova has a lot to do with it, no matter who wants to say what. But I think it's a tough price to pay. But this was the Knicks' move to make, right? Like we always talked about saving our draft capital for a move. This is what it became, right?
Yeah, and you know what? Let's talk about why it works, and then we'll talk about what we think the Knicks will be going forward and what they're going to do. Because now everyone's curious about the next move. They're curious about the salary cap, which I've said multiple times. I like having these discussions with you because as a Knicks fan now, as you get a little older, you want to figure out these things. It wasn't like when we were in college and, I was staring at the salary cap and interest in those things. Like, just get me to the games. But now when something like this happens, you're interested to see what's available, how much money we could offer. And Bogdanovic's salary was a big piece. I think you have touched on this too. As soon as they gave that option and accepted the $19 million, we knew a deal would go down. I just didn't think it was going to be attached to Mikal Bridges.
Agreed. But yeah, it was always looked at as a piece to trade. It was a trade chip. It's the same thing. That's why we kind of kept on Evan Fournier, right? It was an expiring contract that provided value. And in this case, we basically just gave up draft capital. I love Boggy and what he did for us last year. But if you're looking at it from a contractual standpoint, it was just for acquiring someone else.
Yeah. And obviously his contract becomes valuable. You compared it to Fournier, and he comes off the books. And now Knicks go forward we tried to put together lineups yesterday. Now everyone's starting to fantasize about what this is going to look like, but we can't do all that until we know what draft night now is tonight, what it's going to look like, right? Because they still have, as much as they gave up their draft capital, the crazy thing is in 2024, the Knicks still have access to their 3 draft picks. And we've heard rumors about Mitchell Robinson being moved. I'm starting to hear some murmurs about Randall again, which I don't think are going to ever completely go away as long as he's on the roster with his player option coming up. But now we talk about the 2 names in free agency that have most Knicks fans concerned. What's going to happen with OG Anunoby and what's going to happen with Isaiah Hartenstein? Where are you at on those 2 guys right now?
Of course I want them back, right? But it is going to be a tight crunch with the Knicks looking with the salary cap and things like that. So I have like a cap sheet in front of me, and
Mr. Cap. I call you Mr.
Yeah.
Well, not lying. You know, with the kids say cap and no cap, but you are a salary cap expert.
Yeah, well, let's use expert lightly. I don't get paid for this. It's just fun. But yeah, so we are. I think again, my numbers are not the Knicks numbers, but I try to do as best as I can. So right now with Julius, Jalen, Mikal, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson, Dante DiVincenzo, Miles McBride, Jericho Sims has a $2 million team option.
Right.
I included Daquan Jeffries' team option and Mamadi Dikante's non-guarantee contract in these numbers because we kind of need those two guys that I just mentioned at the end to be included in the Mikal Bridges trade. If that does not happen, then we are hard capped at a first apron. A lot of jargon with these new rules.
Yeah.
But it further restricts us to do a lot of other things like can't sign any other players making over a mid-level exception, salary matching and trades. So let's get away from that, not to get too crazy. But so all those contracts, including the 25th and the 24th pick, comes up to a total of $139 million. The salary cap is $141 million. Right? So we still have the amount of space. We have $39 million before we reach the first apron and $49 million for the second apron. So if you want to throw OG making $35 million in his first year, just turning that in, and then Hartenstein making
you got a whole salary machine over there.
Yeah, making 16 mil. We're over the number, right? So it's going to take some cap magic for sure. But it's going to be close. You see a lot of rumors right now where Isaiah's like, everyone's, reporting that it's going to be tough to keep him. So, there's ways around it, and we'll see. I think we're going to see tonight, to be honest. I think we're going to move off of a pick. I think Mitch may be someone that goes if there's a guarantee for Isaiah, right? You can't just get rid of them without a guarantee, right? So, it's going to be very close. It can happen, but again, these cap rules and the fact that we're making a trade with 5 first-round picks to go into a second apron that freezes pick, that I still don't understand that. So I'll get back to.
Well, if you don't understand it, 99.9% of us won't. But I think my biggest takeaway, because we talked about being in shock yesterday. Today, my excitement level is finally setting in. Like I almost I came on the live yesterday and we spoke. It was somebody say psych, and you told me, hey, am I being pranked? We both had that same initial response. And now that we realize, okay, Bridges is a part of this, we feel great about it, but we want the rest of the offseason to unfold now, right? We want to see what the next move's going to be, because now, being that the offseason is completely turned on its head, we just can't, it's hard to predict, all right, what Leon Rose has planned and what the Knicks have up their sleeves right now, because as many of the rumors have been flying around, who knows what some of the names that could pop up. But I think most Knicks fans out there are under the assumption that, as we've seen tweeted, OG Anunoby remains the priority. Want to bring this guy back. We want to have multiple dynamic wings, not just Bridges, who he might be diet version of Anunoby defensively, but on offense, as I was discussing with my dad earlier today, Bridges is the better offensive player. I mean, I don't think that's really debatable. He's a better shooter. He could create a little bit off the bounce. He finishes, Anunoby can finish obviously around the rim, but to me, he's a more fluid and skilled offensive player. I wouldn't say he's better, right? I would not go as far as saying he's better than Anunoby, but he brings some things. And obviously, knowing Brunson, knowing how DiVincenzo and Hart play, and being able to just fit right into what the Knicks are trying to do, that's going to be beautiful to watch, I think, from a chemistry standpoint. But Anunoby, again, very valuable to what I think the Knicks are trying to do. We saw who just won the championship. We know what players those teams have. How do we stack up? OG remains a big part of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that OG and Mikal together offers the craziest potential on defense, right? And then on offense, I agree completely with your the assessment of Mikal being better, but I do like the free flow because the way the basketball is being played now, we don't have to give these guys the ball and run plays for them. They'll find the ball, right? The ball find them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Mikal I saw a stat today that Bridges has like the most corner threes in the last 7 years or so, however long he's been in the league.
I saw that too, yeah.
So, I'm sure they weren't set plays, right? So, little things like that. And we saw that with OG last year, right? Like how many times
fit right in, yeah.
He fit right in. So, goes to the positionless basketball that's being played nowadays. So, I love it, man. I know we have some things to work out with getting OG and Isaiah hopefully back, but it's exciting, man. Hey,
yeah. Well,
I don't know what to say. Like
the dark days
crazy from where we were a couple of years ago.
Well, the dark days are over, Kevin, and I wanted to make sure you were on today to do this with me and to make the Knickerbocker Banter faithful familiar with you, because you'll be on throughout the off season, and this is something that you take a lot of pride in and something that you've enjoyed and have told me that, just not the cap and trades and the NBA offseason really going to heat up. But take a look back at 2018, right? And Knick fans looking at that draft got sick just up until a few years ago. But now the way that this team is trending, it's almost a blessing in disguise what happened now. SGA is a great player, right? And we took Knox before him, but Bridges and MPJ being in that draft and us going with Kevin Knox, now we could fast forward 6 years and, look who's on our perimeter potentially. Look who the group that we've been able to surround ourselves with here. So it is honestly a great day. I mean, I can't project the future. I can't tell you if they're going to win a championship or not. I could just tell you that this is going to be competitive and we're going to be deep in the playoffs every year. And you could talk about draft capital till you're blue in the face.
All right.
What we are creating here at MSG, and a durable player now to add to this, people have made the Infinity Stone jokes and completing the Villanova, the four of them and the entourage. It's just a happy day for me. I think back to the tough ones, and we just had Anthony MSG on the other day talking about these 2001 to 2021 winning one playoff series, and now we're having conversations about who we could keep on this stacked team right now. That's not hyperbole. That's not being an overly optimistic fan. That is the reality. The Knicks have more than a fighter's chance to be a contender, and that's something that we have to come to terms with. It's not obviously a negative thing. It's an awesome thing that's going on right now in New York City.
Absolutely. And I think the Knicks last night, 10 o'clock, just got it started because they're not done. I think there's a lot to be done still. We'll see, right? We'll see. Starting tonight. What time is the draft? 8 p.m.?
Yep. Then we're getting rolling tonight. And like I said, there's a lot to still cover. We'll, get into where everyone's role is going to be. And there's still a lot more to figure out with free agency and with, like you said, the draft tonight. And we could still see more moves. You talked about first apron, second apron. We're going to get more into that, right? We're going to explain what's happening and what is going through the minds of Leon Rose and the front office of this organization. But it's crazy. It's a lot to digest because someone's got to pinch me and wake me up that these are the conversations. This is a team that's now lost in the second round 2 years in a row that has, I said it yesterday, that smells blood in the water. This is a team that's going for it, that is aggressive, that's in a win now mode. This is a champion. Now it's officially, this is in my estimation, a championship window, because you got a lot of guys that are in their prime now, 27, 28 years old, 29 years old. Your best players are in their prime, entering their best years. The Knicks have made it clear. If there was any indication, it was last night. They've made it clear: win now, worry later.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The window is completely open right now for that.
And it's exciting, man. And I just want to jump on with you today. Like I said, Kevin Etwaroo, appreciate you. It's an emergency podcast edition. How about this? December, we made a crazy trade. Even February, we're in, in the action. Now June. The last couple of years of Knicks basketball, just even the last 6 months of Knicks basketball, as I've said many times, the franchise getting completely flipped around, and the culture is refreshing. And we have a lot to look forward to in the next couple of weeks. And I appreciate you joining the program, man.
Slowly. Thank you very much, Harris. We'll be catching up very soon.
Yes, very, very, very. Man, listen, who knows? Maybe in like 9 minutes we'll have to do something else. We don't even know at this rate, but I'll keep in touch with you, and we'll continue to deliver for the fans of this program. And I appreciate everybody's support. Knickerbocker Banter signing off. We'll talk to you guys soon.